Hello, everybody. I don't know if when it started recording.
I think right then
Yeah,
we're on
it's
we're on
different.
red alert. We're on high tilt right now. So
It's
don't.
different from what we're used to. This new
Yeah.
thing. I'm recording the thing in a new way, and I just had a whole ordeal with the technology stuff. But um, there is some breaking news that we're going to discuss here. And as I'm talking, I realize now, Core, I don't have my camera at like any kind of angle that makes sense.
Oh,
Uh,
it's good.
no, there was too much headroom there. I look like a midget or something. Anyway, are you not allowed to say that anymore? Is that not politically correct anymore to say midget?
Probably not. Probably not. But
Okay.
what you're about to say just trumps everything, so we could do
It,
whatever.
it definitely trumps everything. So this is a little bit different. Normally we'd be recording a Kyle and Corin right now, but this is not even technically a Kyle and Corin episode because we have some breaking news we're going to discuss. It is official. We are at war with Iran. Now, I would say it was fair to say when we assassinated their top general that we're at war with them when we did that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that's an act of war, obviously. But what I mean is tonight is the night that they officially responded to the United States, and they just attacked a U.S. military base in Iraq. Um, they launched at least 12 missiles. And all this. We just learned this, so all this information is new and it's subject to change. But what we do know is they just launched at least 12 missiles at a U.S. military base. As of right now, there are no reports of casualties. There was like this tweet that went viral, but it turned out to be fake news when somebody said, "Oh, 60 American soldiers died." Um, as of the time of this recording, that is not the case. That's fake news. But there was an attack Iran launched against a U.S. base in Iraq. And all I have to say, man, because I've been covering this stuff inside and out, is like, what did you expect would happen? Like, obviously, this was going to happen, something like this, when you attack their top general, a
Yeah.
guy had just finished defeating ISIS, and he was literally on a peace mission trying to ease tensions between Iran and Saudi Arabia when he was killed. So, but here's the thing, Core, and this is where it gets creepy, is that honestly, I think this is what they wanted to happen. This is what Trump and the neocons wanted to happen because now everybody should be afraid because now is like, okay, well, what are they going to do next? What are they going to do next? Because that's the thing, like, that's, oh my God, sends chills down my spine, is because they might, like, do a ground invasion of Iran. They're definitely going to bomb other stuff. And because Trump tweeted the other day, if you do anything, I have 52 Iranian targets in my sights, and he even said they're cultural sites. So, like, literally civilian infrastructure is stuff that he would bomb, and he's saying that. And then Iran said after they launched this attack, they said, "Oh, if you respond to this, well, then we have in our crosshairs Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, Israel, and one other place. I'm blanking on the third place, but they were basically like, okay, you killed our top general,
Mm-hmm.
we bombed your base, and now if you try something else, we're gonna do something else too."
And
So
and you know for damn sure that Trump's gonna try something else. It's not like you can tempt him on a some shit like that and him not take the bait.
exactly, but that's my fear, though, Corin, is that like from the beginning they were like right from the jump when you assassinated his top general, they knew they had to respond. They can't not respond. And so it's like now they've given themselves the green light.
Yeah.
And the other thing I fear is now you're going to have Democrats too who like fall in line and are like, yeah, we got to attack them because they attacked us, but we started it.
Yeah.
But we started it.
It's
They're going
yeah.
to act like it's defensive, and it's not defensive.
Yeah. It's legit scary, man. And like anytime I see, like I was gonna put a tweet up that was Trump walking out, and it was to like the NFL draft music, and like it had at the NFL draft there's like this little bell that rings when the commissioner comes out, and it's like the pick is in. And they did that with Donald Trump. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you.
Oh, and I laughed, but then like I was like, this shit isn't funny, man. Like this is beyond super serious, and the fact that like we are just out here bombing people and killing people. Like, there's bad people everywhere in the world. And for Trump to just select, this guy in Iran and just put so many people in harm's way, now having to go fight for his dumbass actions, when the guy didn't, do we know that he was plotting an attack and like
hell no. That's what they say. They're like, oh, he was plotting imminent attack. They presented no evidence of it. And this is the same intelligence community that lied us to war in 2003 when they said Saddam had weapons of mass destruction. And they also originally said that Saddam worked with Osama bin Laden to do 9/11. None of that was true. And every step of the way they lied to us. Colin Powell famously went to the United Nations and held up this vial, and he was like, see, Saddam Hussein is, he's got uranium yellow cake. He's creating a nuclear weapon. And it was all nonsense. It wasn't true. So no, they say like, oh, he's an imminent threat. And then when everybody's like, okay, well, what's your evidence of that? They're like, beep, 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 beep.
Yeah,
they have no evidence for it. Because Corin, and here's the dirty little secret that they don't want people to know, is that ISIS and Al-Qaeda are terrorists. They're terrorists. The ideology of this general, he's, like Iran is a Shia nation, and the Shia militias that are on the ground fighting, they're not going to attack the West. That's not their thing. Mm-hmm. ISIS and Al-Qaeda do it because they're like jihadists. That's Sunni fundamentalism. The idea that there was like an imminent threat of a terror attack, a Shia-inspired terror attack, that's not a thing.
And when was the last time there was a terror attack from like an Iranian, ISIS person? Every attack that's happened has been a white dude from Kansas or some shit that's just like crazy or psycho, or someone from our backyard who's doing like a shooting or a mass shooting. It's a non-ISIS Arab person. It's a white person. Like, call a spade and stop doing bombing overseas and just having these nonsense arguments to send our fucking military over there for whatever reasons, to just dump and burn money over there for oil or forever, whatever the hell you want over there, when nothing has happened. There's been no threat from anybody over there,
That's exactly right. And that's the thing, is like, there is no Iranian ISIS. That's not a thing. Mm-hmm. That doesn't exist. Like, in fact, again, this general just got finished fighting ISIS and beating ISIS, literally. Like, so to all this, Corin, this guy was our ally like 6.5 minutes ago. He was fighting ISIS with us. And now all of a sudden they acted like he had imminent, he was going to imminently attack us. And then, by the way, when Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State, was pushed on that a little bit, he backed off it, and he was like, they were actively plotting in the region.
Come on, man. Like they act like we're dumb as shit. Like, we haven't just been down this road. Like, I don't even know the fucking quote, but that fool me once, fool me twice shit. But it's like,
fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice,
shame on me.
Yeah.
Fool me 3 times, go fuck yourself. Like, because you ain't fooling me a 3rd time. But this 2nd time, like, there was a video, I don't know if you retweeted or someone retweeted, of Mike Pence just straight lying about like the guns that they found in Iraq with the weapons of mass destruction. And then the video of Nancy Pelosi straight sitting on stage saying, yeah, we knew they were lying about that, but we had to tell the American people that, that there was a war over there, or that they had these, weapons of mass destruction. Like, people came out and straight told us that they lied. There's videos of people lying. And we're just going down the same rabbit hole. Like, these political pundits are going through their same talking points and acting like this shit didn't just happen. Like, they didn't just boldface lie to us back with the first war in Iraq.
Corin, they're trying to tell us, Mike Pence tried to argue one of the reasons why we had to take this guy out, Soleimani, is because he says, like, Iran facilitated 9/11. It was Saudi Arabia. It was 15 or 16 of the 19 hijackers were from Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. I can't, legit, it gets me mad, and I can't really like keep up all this stuff on Twitter, and it's frustrating because I want to be involved with what's going on, and people like Bernie and other Democratic candidates still have real policy shit that they're trying to get done. But like, the conversation gets steered so much in a different direction that you can't not talk about it because we're in a war, like you just said. But like, there's still real shit going on in our country that like Bernie's trying to get done, and like even Elizabeth Warren and like all these other fucking candidates. But like now they have to spend time on this shit because Trump just
this becomes
changed the game.
priority number one. And it should be priority number one now because
it has to be, but like it shouldn't be, is what I'm saying. And that's
priority number one is stopping it, and then to your point, like stop it and then spend that money here at home. The money that obviously is going to be used abroad. $7 trillion wasted in Iraq, $2 trillion wasted in Afghanistan, nothing to show for it. Dead U.S. soldiers, hundreds of thousands of dead civilians in the Middle East. And listen, man. Like, I want to give everybody the timeline of this so they get a better sense of how exactly we came to this point, because I feel like the timeline of events is super important so you get the full picture. And then also I want to give people a little bit of the history of the United States and Iran so they get an even better picture of what's going on. So again, what just happened is the Iranian government just attacked a U.S. military base in Iraq. They launched at least 12 missiles. I know that the Ayatollah is going to give a speech tonight, probably where he does some chest thumping of his own. And maybe, I don't know whether he'll probably say like maybe some more tit for tat stuff. And like, oh, we could de-escalate, or if you don't want to, hey, we can go in the other direction too. But like I said, the threat now is if the U.S. responds, which we're going to, then he says, well, then I'll target Riyadh, I'll target Israel. And so this is spiraling out of control really quickly. And like, again, with Trump, I think the whole point is the neocons wanted it to spiral out of control because they want to do regime change in Iran, and they wanted to do it ever since 1979. So, okay, first let me give everybody the modern history. Do
you think Trump even, sorry to interrupt, but do you think he even knows and cares about that? Or is it just like he just wanted to flip the script on its fucking head and just like do something that is
Trump
impactful?
Does not know. You're asking if Trump knows the U.S. Iranian history?
Yeah.
No. Of course he doesn't know it. Mm-hmm. Of course he doesn't. We can get into, if you want to get into it, we can get into why he made the decisions that he made, because I have theories. We don't have any hard answers on that yet, but it is an important conversation to have. But let me give everybody the backstory. So a couple weeks ago, a U.S. contractor was allegedly killed in Iraq. Now, I say allegedly because zero information has been released about this person, and that's super abnormal for a situation like this. Usually if something like this happens, the name would be released right away, and we'd know. But they're saying a U.S. contractor was killed, and they've given no information. Now, in response to that, the Trump administration decided, we're going to go bomb Shia militias. Now, the Shia militias, again, were just our allies in defeating ISIS. Okay? Trump decided we're going to turn our weapons on them. I don't know why they blame the killing of a U.S. contractor on the Shia militias. Anytime there's a situation like that where a U.S. contractor gets killed, it's almost always ISIS or Al-Qaeda. Of
course.
Obviously.
Yep.
So anyway, they turned the guns on the Shia militias. Trump dropped some bombs, killed at least a dozen, maybe 24 members of these Shia militias. In response to that, a bunch of Shias started Iraqi and Iranian stormed the U.S., probably more Iraqi than anything else, stormed the U.S. embassy in Iraq. Mm-hmm. And they basically said, hey, get the hell out of here, because we saw what you just did. We don't like it. Leave. Now, listen, I don't think we should ever been in Iraq in the first place. So I don't think we should be there. Mm-hmm. But especially now, they're coming and like, hey, get out of our country. Yeah, get out. But no. That is when Trump green-lighted the drone killing of the Iranian general. Now, why did he make that decision? That's a tough one to figure out. It's possible that, just like Bill Clinton did. Bill Clinton bombed a pharmaceutical factory in Africa when he was getting impeached, and it was like a distraction.
Yep.
Is it possible that Trump is trying to distract from impeachment? Yes. It's also possible that Trump saw on social media this guy, General Soleimani. Soleimani had been trolling Trump on social media for months. And it's possible Trump saw some of that, and he might have been like, oh, okay, so you're going to troll me? Well, how about I kill you? That's possible. Now,
crazy.
I know, but these are the wild theories. Now, the more grounded theories are, neocons have been whispering in his ear since day one because he packed his administration full of neocons. He's got Mike Pompeo in there, Gina Haspel, obviously John Bolton was in there. And so he surrounded himself with these uber hawks, and they've probably been telling him all along, like, oh, you should do this. You should take him out. You should take him out. You should take him out. So whatever the reasoning was, he decided to assassinate a foreign general. And that's a thing where obviously they're going to respond. There's no doubt they're going to respond. And my guess is, even though Trump's a moron, the people around Trump knew that if he picked this road, that Iran was going to respond.
Of course. Well, how can they not? It's not like...
But that's my point, is that, like, they knew we're provoking them to do something like they just did, which is bomb the U.S. military base. Mm-hmm. And then now it's unleash the hounds of hell, and we're officially at war, and they're going to literally try to do the regime change that they've wanted since 1979. Now let me get into that history for everybody, because that's super important. In 1953, the United States overthrew the Iranian government. This is all on the record. This is all admitted to at this point. And there was a guy by the name of Mohammad Mossadegh who was elected in 1953 in Iran, and he was going to nationalize Iranian oil and just give the profits of the Iranian oil to the Iranian people. That's when the U.S. and the U.K. said, not on our watch. So we overthrew him. We put into power this guy called the Shah, Reza Pahlavi. I think I'm Pahlavi. I might be butchering that slightly. Anyway, so this guy was in power, and he allowed the United States and the UK to keep getting super cheap oil. So we were back to business as usual there. And then in 1979, he was ousted. Now, he was a dictator. He was ousted by an Islamic revolution. The reason why the revolution was Islamic in nature is because the mosques were the only places in the country where the Shah wasn't spying on people. So they gathered in the mosques. They overthrew him, and then Iran became a theocracy from then on, the Shia theocracy. Now, they're not a good government. I don't want anybody to get it twisted and think like, it's a utopia over there and the U.S. is trying to ruin it. No, they're a terrible government. They do a lot of domestic repression. However, having said that, the United States, ever since 1979, has wanted to overthrow that government and make them a U.S. puppet state again. Why? Obvious reasons. Number one, cheap oil. That's a huge part of it. Number two, a strategic advantage by having that country on our side. Right now, they're aligned more with Russia and China, and we don't like that. We'd like it a lot more if they were aligned with us. So there's geostrategic reasons to do it. There's the oil reason. And then also, like always is the case for war, it's super profitable, man. A lot of people make a lot of money. It's the military-industrial complex. Yep. And these are the people who are in the room helping them make the decision. And these are the same people who are out there in the media saying, oh, no, we had to do this. We had to escalate with them. We had to do X, Y, and Z. And then come to find out, this one's getting paid by Raytheon. This one's getting paid by Boeing. This one's getting paid by Honeywell. Yeah. They're all getting paid by defense contractors. So anyway, that's the background. That's the history of it. We know that since 1979, they've wanted to overthrow that government. General Wesley Clark from the U.S. is on the record saying that when he was, in power, they literally told him and had a list. Here are the countries that we want to overthrow in the next 10 years. And, of course, on that list was Iran. Yeah. So now it's like they've finally gotten to that point, and it's a mess, man. How many people are going to die? How much money is going to be wasted? And this is dangerous stuff, too, because, like I said, they're aligned with China and Russia, and you're seeing the split, the beginning of a World War III type scenario. Mm-hmm. Because you have the United States, Israel, and Saudi Arabia versus Iran, China, and Russia. You're seeing the dividing lines, and they're crystal clear. And I do not trust Trump at all, not even a little bit, to be reasonable, because like you said, even though this is what the neocons want, but think about it, man. Trump has the ability to launch nukes. That guy has the ability to launch nukes. He just said openly on Twitter, I will target your cultural sites. I will bomb civilians. He's already increased drone strikes 432%. He's already increased troop levels in Afghanistan and Syria. And this guy is the most impulsive dude ever. If somebody comes after him even 1%, he flips out and he goes nuts on them on Twitter. So now we got a real world scenario where, a U.S. military base was attacked after he murdered an Iranian general. And I don't believe that he'll do restraint at all. And that's a terrifying scenario, man, because this thing is really spiraling out of control. And we're all these innocent people all around the world are victims of these fucking arrogant blowhards who are in control. And it's terrifying.
Well, I don't love it, but they try to make us live in this like type of fear where we have to be so dependent on them and like just like, oh, are we protected? Like, do you have us covered? Where it's just like we have, if you were doing all your intelligence and we have all these people in place to figure out, if someone's plotting against us, like we should have a watch on that guy to know if something was going to go down, if they were whatever they were going to do, hijack a plane or who knows what this Soleimani guy was going to do, but like killing him, you should know that that's going to lead to, them responding and doing, killing, military people and all this stuff. Whereas if we just kept an eye on him and like just monitored the situation and knew that nothing was going to happen, which nothing was happening, that we're safe that way, like, but killing a guy doesn't lead to anything good, it's just so you kill a guy because you think he's going to kill a lot of Americans, yet by you doing that, you're actually the one killing more Americans by sending them over to Iran and having a fight for your dumbass action.
Well, that's the thing.
But no one wants to call. No one wants to say that. Like
the thing that they were saying they were doing was the opposite of what they were actually doing. They went out there and they were like, "Oh, we had to kill this guy to prevent a war, not start a war, and we're just trying to keep Americans safe." Like, no, you doing that started a war, and you just made everybody less safe.
Yeah.
So you did the exact opposite of the thing that you said you were going to do.
Yeah, it's beyond scary, man. Then you even start to see like how they just throw around money like it's nothing. Like when actual stuff in our country needs to get done, whether it's education or
infrastructure,
all this shit. It's just like it's so frustrating to hear where's that money going to come from? Where's that money going to come from both sides of it? CNN, MSNBC, and that fuckface Frodo, whatever his name is. Like that guy infuriates me, man. Him and Jake Tapper. It's just enough already.
I don't think this is going to work the way Trump thinks it's going to work. I think that the thing that happened in the lead up to Iraq, first of all, we had 9/11 happened in 2001, but then not only 9/11, then we were propagandized for a year where they tried to scare us about Saddam Hussein for a year straight leading up to it. So they put in the work, even though they were lying, they put in the work so that when we did go to war, Bush's approval rating was like 80 or 90% because everybody
they had that as an excuse, like something actually happened on our soil for them to be like, hey, that was this guy. And then we were like, oh, was it that guy? I mean, like like a lot of people died here in the US. This time around, it's like nothing happened. We're good.
Not only did nothing happen, like, no, you're right. I forgot where I was going to go with that. But absolutely nothing happened. And we're the ones who did some fucked up stuff to them.
Yeah. So Bush's approval rating, you said, like went up.
Right. Yeah. Whereas with Trump's, they didn't propagandize us leading up to the attack. He just did the attack, and we woke up when they were like, "Wait, what? You assassinated an Iranian general?" And then he tried to say like, "Oh yeah, no, we had to do it because there was an imminent threat." There wasn't an imminent threat against us. Not even close. And the thing is, people don't believe that. They don't believe him when he says, "Oh, there was an imminent threat." So there wasn't an imminent threat. People kind of know that. And then now they responded, and now you're going to respond again, and it's all spiraling out of control. And now everybody's going to go, except Trump's like 25% or 30% base that never leaves him. But everybody else in the country is going to be like, what are you doing? And they're going to go,
so?
I do think that this is something, because if people fall in line behind this now, then there's no hope for anything ever again.
I'm not optimistic, man. I think people are gonna fall. Like
I don't know, dude.
You follow it more than I do. Aren't there Democrats that are already like Bloomberg's comments were like, yeah, the guy had to go. He's this and that, and like there's people defending.
I don't think that anybody that's part of the establishment is indicative of how regular people feel. I think regular people feel exactly like you just said right there, where you were like, why are we doing this again? Why aren't we spending money on education? Why aren't we spending money on infrastructure? Why aren't we spending money on healthcare? And I just don't think people buy that this dude was an imminent threat, because he just wasn't. He just wasn't. Anybody who knows anything is going to be like, an Iranian general was a threat to us?
I don't think people know anything. I think people just hear like, we killed an ISIS guy, and they're like,
listen, my gut tells me this is not going to help Trump. In fact, I thought that impeachment was helping Trump, because eventually it's going to go to the Senate. He's going to get acquitted, and then his numbers are going to go up. But like, this is a situation where I don't see it helping them because I think that people are super skeptical of this kind of stuff. And it all happened too quick. They're playing way too loose with the facts. There wasn't a long propaganda effort. And it just looks like he is what he is, which is like super impulsive and petty. And like that kind of led to where we are, on top of the fact that I do think there were neocons around him who kind of had this grand plan of like, baiting him into doing it and then using that to topple the regime in Iran.
Yeah, I think this time around, like we said, it's a little bit more mainstream, and even people who don't know too much about politics are like, "Oh, World War III, World War III," and then they'll think about it, and they're like, "Why is this happening again?" Where in the past it was like, "Oh, there was 9/11. I'm joining the Marines. I'm joining, the military because of that
I want to
actual
protect the
event that
country."
happened."
Yeah, exactly.
But like, you're not going to get a kid like, "I'm going to fight for my country now because of," and they're like, "Why?" They're like, why are we fighting?
Because I was told that an Iranian general was plotting an attack on us, and then when the
Exactly.
Secretary of State was pushed, he meant maybe an attack in the region and not here.
Yeah.
Dude, Hezbollah and Iran both gave speeches the other day, and both of them said, just so everybody knows, going after American civilians is off the table. We're not going to touch American civilians. We would only go after the leaders of America, they said.
Yeah.
So that means the leaders, but also obviously they go after the military because it's a war. That's what you do in a war.
Yeah.
But what does it say that Donald Trump is out there openly saying he'll attack civilian areas, the cultural sites, and the freaking head of Hezbollah and Iran are out there saying we're not going to go after civilians? What does that say about the United States of America at this point in time?
Yeah.
It says we're the
in a
vicious
bad
empire,
spot.
man.
Yeah.
We're the vicious empire that's gotten way out of hand.
That's my question, is just like, why did we do that strike? Why are we killing people over there when it, like, on the surface it seemed like everything was fine, like it seemed like things were okay, and it's like we were on the right track to start pulling troops out of these countries, and now it's just the total opposite, where it's just like they're going to be dumping so many more soldiers over there, when the whole, like, Obama has tried to say that he was going to pull troops out of, Iraq and Iran or wherever everybody is.
Iraq
and then,
Afghanistan, he was trying to get out of. Yeah.
But then didn't Trump run on that too, where he was going to supposedly end the wars and pull all the troops out?
Yeah, he ran on that, and then he totally went back on it, and now he's increased everywhere.
Yeah, and it's frustrating, man, because I'd be super curious to ask someone who just enlists into the military, like, what their reasoning for doing it is, because I have a hard time believing
poverty,
that
man. A lot of people...
that would be the only reason. It's just like poverty, or it's some family history shit. Like my grandfather was a Marine and this and that. But like, I highly doubt there's people out there that say, like, I believe in what Trump's doing, and I want to fight for this country. Like, there can't be those many people out there anymore.
Number one, the candidate who gets most donations from the military is Bernie Sanders.
Really?
And he like doubles the nearest competitor, and I think the nearest is Pete Buttigieg, and then Trump after him.
I think when I spoke to my friend Mike, who's a Marine, he had mentioned that there was a lot of Bernie support, but like, I don't think people went around saying it too loudly. No,
I could see that for sure.
Which sucks, because it's like, that's something like I want Marines to talk about out, on the battlefield.
As long as he wins the election, then we're all gravy. I don't care if you support him loudly, quietly, on a boat with a goat. I don't care how you support him. Just support him.
I know, but it's frustrating because you want, like, even Justin said that when we met up with him. We're like, is there some Bernie support in the locker room? And he's like, yeah, but, people don't really talk about that too much. You hear more maybe like a guy who supports Trump or something like that.
Listen, in an area like professional sports, even the ones that are Democratic leaning, like the NBA, my guess is they like more the corporate Democrats because now they're rich and they want tax cuts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, maybe there's not as many, people, who would support in that context. But I mean, listen, this is a story. This is the biggest story since I've been covering politics, like late 2012, early 2013, full time. This is the story that has impacted me the most, because this is the realest since 2003, since the invasion of Iraq. This is the biggest one.
How do you think anything can really affect us here in the U.S.? Could anything potentially happen?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, they're not going to attack civilians here. Thank God. That's a good thing. But they got a million tricks up their sleeve, man. They got things they could do that really will impact not only us, the world economy. They could jam up the world economy if they want to.
Really?
They could. All they have to do is, they already, I don't know if it was them or the Houthis, but somebody bombed some Saudi oil fields recently, and the price of oil went up big time. If they wanted to, they could wipe out all of Saudi Arabia's infrastructure. They could wipe out all their oil infrastructure, which then absolutely, that's a wrench in the wheel of the world economy easily. They could sink a U.S. battleship. That's something that they could definitely do. They could take hostages and embassies around the region. If they really wanted to, they could assassinate U.S. prisoners. But I don't think they'll do that because they said they're not going to do anything against civilians. But they could do a lot. They could do a lot, And this is not this is the point I'm trying to make to people is that, guys, this stuff is real. Yeah. I know for some people, maybe who didn't go to Iraq and Afghanistan and, maybe didn't have somebody in their family or a friend who went there. To them, it's almost like the war is more of a conceptual thing. Because it's it happened, but I haven't seen it personally affect me in any way.
Yeah.
But no, all of this is real as a heart attack. And those are real people who are impacted by it and affected by it and have PTSD and people committing suicide. And, in this case, this is a whole new can of worms that we're opening up. And it's because these micromanagers, these neocons in Washington, D.C., are obsessed with controlling the world, running the world, having, U.S. puppet governments in place. It is about the oil. It is about the military-industrial complex and the money. I got a bridge to sell you. If you think that American, these people in Washington, D.C. are actually concerned about the well-being of people in the Middle East and care about democracy and freedom.
Sure. They don't even care about us.
Democratically elected leader. What's that?
They don't even care about us.
I know, exactly. We don't have clean water in Flint, Michigan, but, you're telling me we got to go to frickin' Kabul and Kandahar in Afghanistan? That's insane.
It's scary, man, because and then even seeing that video of Trump calling out Obama and saying, he's gonna start a war before he, ends his term.
Yeah, I touched on that before, which is in Trump's mind, he thought obviously if Obama attacks Iran, that's him trying to get reelected. Mm-hmm. So in his mind, he thinks every time a politician does an attack, that helps them, that puts their numbers up. That's the way he thinks. So did that factor into his decision-making when he said, kill the general? Absolutely. Because no matter what anybody says, he doesn't want to be impeached. He didn't want to have impeachment pass the House. Now, I happen to think it would have helped him because it was going to die in the Senate, but he might not have thought it was going to help him. He might have thought this was hurting him.
Yeah.
And so then, if he thinks, I'll just take out this general and everything will be okay, it's possible it's okay. Here's the thing, guys. It's possible that he really is this impulsive, this petty, this stupid, this incapable of understanding the consequences of his actions and not thinking there's going to be a response. It's possible he did it thinking like that. And it's also possible that it was actually they knew they were baiting Iran into attacking us, and then we'd go all in on regime change.
I doubt he even puts that much thought into it. And real talk, I don't know. I'd be surprised if he even knew that this shit was going down. Do you think he really is actively thinking and plotting of ideas of how to kill people? I can't see him meeting with his generals all right, give me a list of the bad guys. All right, let's kill them. I don't think he has the wherewithal to make these decisions. I feel like it was a drone strike that just is some common shit that happens in Iran.
No. He had to approve this. And we actually have the articles on it already where they gave specifics on how he was given a menu of options on how to deal with it. And the last one they threw out there was, or we know where he is, you could kill him.
Oh.
And he was like, we're going to kill him.
Damn, man.
No, you're not. You are not authorized as just a member of the military, no matter how high up you are. You're not authorized to do a drone strike and take out a top Iranian general. because that is the beginning of a war. You just declare war on your own. And that's the other angle of this that we haven't even gotten into, which is it is flat out illegal and unconstitutional what he did. It's illegal under U.S. law, it's illegal under international law, and it's unconstitutional because Congress has to declare war. And this is clearly an act of war. Trump is trying to say, oh, no, this was okay because I'm putting it under the 2002 authorization for use of military force. So in other words, that's why Mike Pence was making the Iran argument where he's like, oh, Iran did 9/11. Like he was trying to say that so that they could say, oh, no, that's why we're allowed to kill the general without getting a declaration of war through Congress.
Damn, man. It's all a fucking shit show.
Dude, it's going to... It would take a minor miracle for Trump to walk back off the ledge and course correct here. But now there's like a 90 to 95% chance this is all just beginning, man. And it's about to get a hell of a lot uglier. And this is the most massive event since 2003 in the invasion of Iraq. It really
is crazy. Where do we get the money? Where does $2 trillion just sort of fall out of our ass for all of this stuff?
Well, I mean, they're not paying for any of it. The deficit's been going up. That's what.
Oh, it's just the credit card.
Yeah, pretty much. The deficit's been going up consistently under Trump, and even with the economy, the stock market roaring, when you do tax cuts for the rich, that's part of it. And he also, again, increased the military spending and then bragged about it. So, yeah, none of this stuff is being paid for. It's all just, being added to the debt and the deficit.
It's scary times, man, because like I said, I think it's become so mainstream now that people on Twitter that just have no involvement with politics and are just your average Joe are now, either mocking World War III or talking about it and worried if they're going to get drafted, which I doubt is even possible at this point, getting drafted.
They could bring a draft back, but I would literally do a national speaking tour as a conscientious objector, and they would lock me in prison, and I'd be like, okay, fine, lock me up, but I'm going to explain to everybody why they should be a conscientious objector and they shouldn't go to war. Listen, if I was around the time of World War II, I would have fought Hitler 100% because he was evil personified.
Yeah.
So that is a just war. He declared war on us. We were acting totally defensively. He was a monster who was putting people in gas chambers.
Mm-hmm.
I would have fought in that war because that's a just war. Every U.S. war after that war, not a chance I would fight it. Not a chance.
It's crazy that the people that were so against like Vietnam, like athletes or even like Jane Fonda or some shit like that, took so much heat and blowback for having the right stance of
stating the obvious. See, that's the thing, Corin, is that's why we need to be loud, we need to be aggressive, and we need to be persistent in fighting back against this Iran war, because you're right. Not only is history going to judge us that we were correct, they're judging us that we're correct now. Yeah. You're going to get some people who are morons. The entire establishment is going to be against us on this. So many Republicans are going to fall in line for Daddy Trump. But I think, honestly, the most Americans will be like, yeah, this is kind of silly. What are we doing? And, it's on us to like crystallize and really put it into an easily understandable way why this is wrong, you know?
Yeah, I think you're starting to see some people on TV. It's just like, I feel like they'll never fully come around on mainstream TV because they're always going to have somebody on saying a counterpoint to someone with a good point, dude,
they're all, I told you, like lobbyists, people who get paid by the defense industry are now on air acting like they're war experts.
Exactly. So like you're always going to have someone defending a dumb decision, which is not a good thing, because there's some times where it's just like that wasn't a good decision and it's 100% consensus, whatever the word is, that we shouldn't have did that. And there should be no other voice to it. There should be no, but it's like, no, that wasn't
sometimes
right.
There's an answer. Sometimes there's a true and a false, and there's not like two sides of it. Like, again,
there's right from wrong.
How many times
we learned that as kids?
How many times do you think they've mentioned on mainstream media, number one, that we were just allies with this guy recently, number two, that he was one of the leaders in defeating ISIS, and number three, that he was literally on a peace mission at the time that he was murdered?
I never heard it.
You never heard it. My point is, I don't think corporate media ever mentioned any of those points.
No.
And we assassinated that guy, started a war to kill that guy, and then now everything's going to be totally out of hand. They just attacked our base. Trump is definitely going to respond. This is bad, Core. This is really bad. And on that note, I think we'll call it a night because I know you got somewhere you got to go. I got to fiddle with the technology stuff behind the scenes. This isn't even a Kyle and Core, and technically this is a breaking news segment on our war situation.
Yeah, I appreciate you breaking it with me because I mean, like I said, I've been trying to, and I shouldn't stay out of this story, but like it's so hard because it's so frustrating because, like I said, back with 9/11, we were in New York, so like at the time we thought, man, this is bad.
Oh,
that
I
is a direct cause of that.
People.
Yeah,
I knew people who, like my friend's dad's friend.
Yep.
Died.
I mean, we knew people that worked in the city that are leaving and had to walk away from just like whether or not what our action of doing was right. We at the time thought it was because of this action, like this terrorist attack. But now, like we've just said, nothing happened. So it's like, what are we doing here? Why are we fighting?
They're barely trying to mask it, Core. They're barely trying to mask that they just want to do the regime change. Like, again, they're insulting our intelligence. Blaming Iran for 9/11 is part of your reason why we need to go. Saying this guy was going to do an imminent attack. Who in their right mind really thinks an Iranian general was planning an imminent attack?
It's so important to have people like you. And even fucking Justin Jackson is a new man ever since the season's over. He's been
freaking it on Twitter, man.
He's taking headshots at everybody. So like, you need educated people that will call these pundits on their bullshit. And you guys do an amazing job of it. And like you said, if you're out there and you're reading the tweets and you've got something good to say, like say that shit, man, because these people need to get called out on their bullshit because they're lying straight to your face. And it's frustrating and lives are gonna be lost because of it.
And let me just say, it's not about like me or any other people who do what I do. Now is a time. This is so important that now is a time where everybody needs to stand up. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs to fight back. Everybody needs to, whatever you do, contact your congressman, contact your senator, pester the corporate media people to tell the truth. Whatever you got to do, get out there, march in the streets. There's already been marches against, after the assassination of Soleimani, there was already people in the streets saying, like, no war with Iran, no war with Iran. Now we need that even more than ever, man. And it's not about, any one person. It's about a collective effort. We have to fight back. We have to stop this because this is bad, and it all could have been avoided. It all could have been avoided.
The video, did you see the video of the helicopter in Iran of the people that came out for that guy?
Yes.
Are you kidding? Like,
well, that's what we should have when you kill the guy defeated ISIS. That's what freaking happens. And all this could have been avoided, Warren. We pulled out of the Iran deal, dude. We pulled out of the nuclear agreement. They were following the nuclear agreement to the T. They were literally, the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, over a dozen times, they did what they had to do, and they were like, yes, they're following the deal. We pulled out, we ripped it up, we sanctioned them, including sanctions on medicine going into that country, so the civilians were hurt as a result of that. And then now we assassinated their general, and we're going to act like, oh my God, I can't believe you responded by attacking a military base. Of course you knew that would have happened. And guess what? That's not an unreasonable response on their part. I would have done the same thing. And if anything, they're showing more restraint than you are, because Trump's out there, we're going to attack civilian sites.
Yeah, and here's my point. All of those people that lined up, that was thousands and thousands, could have been millions of people. You think those were all bad people? Like, no.
That's a great point. That's such a good point, man.
That's not all
like all of them were bad? No.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, we need to have some type of rally like that, like where it's just OD, where it's just like...
I'm sure it's going to happen.
I hope so, man.
People are organizing it as we speak, Corin, because this is huge news what just happened.
Yeah, it's scary, man.
So anyway, all right, guys. Sorry to break the terrible news to you, but this is where we're at right now, and it's only going to get worse, so we got to do everything we can to fight back. All right, we love you, and we'll talk to you soon.